Fair from filmfestivalcircuit.com, the director of the Oregon Shore Film Festival, and many others. And I am joined by director Shane Crosland here to talk about his film, The Chieftain and the Pudding Race. Hey, Shane, how are you?
Good. How's it going, Mikkel?
Oh, man, we are excited to show your film at the Oregon Shore Film Festival Fall 2022. Big nominations for your film. Best Director, which is about the highest nomination you can get. Best Cinematography, which is something your film easily walks away with. It looks so good. So you make us look good, and we appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So, Clinton Street Theater is a great venue, going to have a great crowd in Portland ready to watch this film. But your film has a title that doesn't quite explain what is happening. So I'm going to ask you, please put the synopsis in your own words. What are people going to walk in and see?
So The Chieftain of the Pudding Race is about a kid who grows up in a tourist town and is kind of struggling to find peace in his own town. So it's more about him acting as a vessel floating through different social ideas, contradictions, and ironies, just so we can get across like our ideas. So he just kind of floats through those. And the name comes from actually a Robert Burns poem. It's an old Scots poem, very hard to read. Chieftain of the Pudding Race actually means haggis in the poem. But the poem is pretty much about like an international melting pot of food. And essentially, it just kind of struck a bell. It's this slow-moving town, this whimsical lifestyle with travelers that's, a bit nomadic and tribal in a sense. So yeah, we just kind of took that name and thought it stuck out a lot.
But, yeah, very cool. And it's played. This film is played at the Austin Comedy Film Festival, the Austin After Dark Film Festival. People are really stunned by the cinematography. Who is your cinematographer? Are you doing this yourself, or
no? So it's my buddy Nolan Verhage. He actually just moved over to New Zealand with his girlfriend Jess. Yeah, he was just on point the entire time, taking his time a lot. Sometimes it could get a bit stressful, but he took the extra step to kind of really take his time, analyze the shot, and still made it work if we were just kind of running gunning, which a lot of the shots kind of are. But yeah, just taking 3 different meetings with our local production house just to test the camera kit before our normal production dates and our pushbacks. So he really did an amazing job.
Yeah, it really looks good. It really does. And a quick story, I had somebody in Austin walk into the wrong theater. They walked into our comedy theater. They were coming to see just a commercial film that was in another screen. And they saw what was on the screen. They're like, I'm staying. This looks good. And it was your film playing. So
it's amazing.
Yeah, man. Congrats on the Hollywood look. You really got that going, and it looks great. Personally, though, what motivated you to create this specific film? Why the time, effort, and energy on this film?
So I guess for me, I've kind of grown up in various like tourist towns in the States, and like Annapolis, Maryland, and Boulder, Colorado, San Diego, California. It's kind of have this, this high influx of tourists that kind of come through. It's a small local community, so it kind of just almost seems like stagnant, stuck. But yeah, I've spent time in Mexico and some tourist towns, and I've traveled after college and got to experience this kind of nomadic lifestyle for about 4 years before I settled in Australia. I was still traveling in Australia too, and I spent time in Thailand and Asia, and it's kind of all the same idea but different images. You kind of have all these people that are transient and passing through, and they're kind of these nomadic type of people. And then you have the people that stay there, and they're kind of just, you can kind of see them evolve in one way or the other. And I think Byron Bay in Australia is a huge, it's definitely that kind of town, like one of the biggest towns for as an international melting pot I've ever been to. So, you have people from Brazil or Sweden, you have the working holiday visa class. So you have people from all over the world just living there that are young. Some people, stay, they find their love there, or they find their career there, and they just want to be a beach bum and surf. And everybody's kind of on the same page. But at the same time, there's the people that actually grew up there. It's like one of those towns where it's like no one's ever really from here. Like you can't really tell who's from there, who's a true local to this town, or who's not. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Like, what where are these people that are actually from here? Like, do they get sick of this? Like, do they find the need to travel because the whole world comes to them? And I found this one guy working in a nightclub, like a backpacker bar. His name's Sonny, the main character, and he's kind of just very stoic kid. He's just like, man, I just want to leave and travel. I've got to get out of here. I'm going to get stuck. And so, he traveled, and then he came back, and then COVID happened, and we just talked and started writing this film just based on ideas and scenes that I've kind of just witnessed living in multiple tourist towns that are quite nomadic, and just kind of it kind of became like these little skits that we kind of molded into a story that flowed, really. So we just kind of used Sunny as that vessel to kind of flow through all these ideas.
All right. It sounds like you got a lot of real life in this.
Yeah, heaps of real life experience, not just mine, from other people as well.
So did you learn anything on this production? I mean, you mentioned some of the, obviously cinematography aspects of it, but what did you learn on this production?
Definitely take your time. We tried to cram, it was low budget. We tried to cram a lot in a short period of time. I think we had about 55 different drafts on the screenplay, which is, we wrote it. We had so much time to kind of just keep pecking at it during, because it was COVID. So, David and I, through online meetings, we just kept sharing ideas. And then, we were like, oh yeah, we can cut stuff later. And then we realized, oh, we can't really cut anything because then there's parts of the story that just don't make sense if we do that. There was times where we would be on set for over 10 hours, and then we'd have to wake up 4 hours later. But everybody was on board. So, huge thanks to the crew and cast for just dealing with that. So, yeah, I think next time we'll just space it out, give proper contingency days, breaks. Definitely pay attention to the weather. I think there's... It's really it's quite difficult living in a subtropical place making a film, because it'll be sunny with a chance of no rain, and then you have a thunderstorm 5 minutes later. So I think that was pretty prevalent in that in the car scene where Gabe is talking about Hiro Nada for that 2 to 3 minute scene, which is kind of the metaphor of the film. But we tried to film it the first time, got rained out, and then before the party scene in the hinterlands, had a huge storm come in out of nowhere. And then we had to push back the car scene before until, a few months later and film it again. And then it rained again. So we decided to sit out there in a camera and put a bag over it and film it. I didn't even get to listen in on that. So I just put Nolan in the car and we winged it. And it came out great.
Whoa.
But yeah,
wow.
We rehearsed that scene so many times that those kids that's just what they talk about naturally. So I had to put full trust into it. And, it all worked out with continuity. When they get in the car and then they go to the hinterland, party, and you see the water coming off the bushes, and it's like, wow, that just works out so perfectly sometimes. Also, definitely, I realized people in regional Australia do not like cameras at all. Yeah. We were filming at a friend's property. One of the friends that was in the film, his property in Hinterlands, and then just filming outside, getting B-roll, and then we just hear this loud, brash Aussie accent. Who are you? Landlord comes over, kicks us off the property. We've had people, filming the beach scene, thinking we're doing party on the beach at 7 in the morning. We've had people during the driving scene pull us over and shout at us, filming from bicycle lanes, angry, like tradesmen just swerving at us in the morning. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Watch your environment.
It's a pretty hectic area. But yeah, there's lots of things to learn, but I think the biggest thing I learned is take your time. It's okay to space things out and just let people take a proper breather, and just you need to de-stress at times.
Well, what are you working on next? Are you working on part 2? Or are you working on a continuation of some kind of a
Yes,
series? Or
not quite a continuation, but during my travels, and at uni or college, sorry, I picked up the everlasting skill of bartending, and that kind of got me, through most of my travels, and got me through a lot of Australia during times where there's the film industry's down. I could pick up other work, but at the same time, it is definitely an industry that is weary. It grows on you a lot. A lot of people are happy in it, and it is fun. But at the same time, you come across a lot of funny stories, a lot of this kind of nihilistic, pessimistic, like environment, which is also kind of funny at the same time. Um, so yeah, we're doing instead of main character not talking this film, the main
Mhm.
character will be talking straight to camera over about 16 to 17 moving scenes in the background, while he's just talking to camera, which is a whole giant monologue that flows through each scene. So essentially, he's just telling the camera why he is the way he is, why he is where he is, and his views on life through different philosophies and life experiences. And it also has an underlying message about mental health and hospitality. We've got a crowdfunding up at the moment for it. It's called The Secret Life of the M Word. M Word meaning mixologist, which is if you call yourself that in the bartending community, you'll probably be made fun of or not be hired. um, but yeah, it's a good message in there. It's good philosophies. We're donating about 10% to mental health support groups for hospitality, which is much needed in Australia because the suicide rate for men is quite high.
Mhm.
Um, and then 10% to the recent catastrophic flooding we've experienced in northern rivers, which has left a lot of people without homes, and there's still lots of rebuilding to do. So that's the next step.
Wow. Wow, good stuff, man. And just looking at this film and knowing, what kind of product that you produced, we look forward to seeing, future submissions from you, see what else you got, see what else you're working on. But give us some insight. How do you find, I don't know if we discussed this earlier, but if it was off camera or on camera, but how do you find your actors? Are you typically a casting call person, or is it just people kind of thing?
Some people, we did put out a casting call, but a lot of the roles I had people in mind to fill while we were writing it.
Mm,
Um, Gabe, who's telling the story of the Brazilian guy in the car, that's just how he is. He goes on and on and talks about it's just how he is. Like, that wasn't even the original script for
mm,
that. It's like the original script was this joke about a talking dog that has this like really terrible anticlimactic ending, which is also a metaphor. But he's like, Shane, bro, I tell this to my friends, they hate it. I can't tell a joke if I don't think it's funny. It's like, okay, well, what do you want to do? It's like, well, why don't we sit down with Sam and you just record us talking? We'll see what comes of it. And so we turned it into a script. Um, we Diva and Kate, the two ladies in the beginning. Diva owns one of the most iconic fashion companies in Byron Bay, following Bergen Street, and she introduced me to Kate, and they're best friends.
mm.
It's kind of these, Diva's Canadian, stayed in Byron. Another example of that. You've got Scott Mackey, who plays the Wolf Pup character, who's the guy covered in tattoos and everything. And this character is based on a real person in real life that was an ex-convict and would just like ride around the country in the U.S. and just pick up random people. It's just so lonely that he just starts telling you crazy stories. And Scotty is just like Scotty's just this weird dude that's like a security guard in town. Just the funniest guy in the world and the loveliest guy. So
Wow.
it's like this is like the perfect character for this. You've had Jimmy, who's the property developer, who is a property developer in real life, knows the role really well. So yeah, it's a lot of just people that I've just met in the community. That I think everyone's on the same page. Like we love this area, and it's a beautiful, beautiful part of the country of Australia. But it's definitely just hilarious at times, and it's just there's so many different ideas being brought through, and it's just in this constant state of like gentrification over and over again. That
Yeah.
in a way, it's like it's ever changing, which makes it timeless in a sense. But yeah, just all these different people that have ideas. Everybody loves the community, and the whole community kind of helped out and came together to kind of help us make this. So I'm super appreciative of everyone that's been involved here.
Awesome, man. Well, this has been an interesting story. It's good to finally meet you,
You as
virtually at
well.
least. So, is there anything you wanted to add before we get out of here?
Just want to say a huge thank you to all the judges and all the festivals we've been in, to Oregon Short Film Festival, especially for these nominations. It's a big achievement for us. I know no one's definitely especially happy. And yeah, just keep in touch and stay tuned for our next projects. And hope to make you laugh soon.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Mika.